So by the end of this video, I should have a server in the cloud. When it comes to manually deploying servers, I've done that. Creating VMs, sure, no problem. I want to try and learn Terraform. It allows you to create servers via code. You don't have to do this manually clicking, as it's cloud agnostic, whether you want to deploy to Hetzner Cloud or you want to deploy to DigitalOcean or you want to deploy to AWS. Doesn't matter. You just change the provider point and it works. And in this video, my goal is to see if I can deploy a server to Hetzner Cloud using its Terraform provider and a little bit of infrastructure as code. So it's going to be fairly basic. I'm not going to be setting up any firewalls or anything like that. I'm just going to set up the server, see if I can get it deployed. So no SSH keys, nothing like that. Now, I think to do this, I need three things. I need one, my Terraform file. I need two, an access token or an API token to the Hetzner Cloud and the Terraform CLI installed. I installed the Terraform CLI using Chocolatey. It was a simple one command, dropped it in, no problem. So now I have that checked off. But I need to go into Hetzner Cloud and get an API. So to do that, it's pretty simple. I can just come down here to security, API tokens, and generate an API token. Now, I'm going to call this Terraform episode 1, and I'm going to generate this API token, but I am going to delete it as soon as I'm done with this video. There's my API token. I've copied it. The Terraform provider expects that an hcloud_token environment variable will be set up. So I'm going to go into my system environment variables for my local user account, and I'm going to add this token to those variables. So now I have that variable available to me. So now I have Visual Studio Code open, and my objective is to write my Terraform file. So I'm going to go ahead, and as I understand it, I just need to create a file. And I don't think the name matters. A lot of people use main.tf, but I don't think the name matters. But I'm going to do main.tf because that's what I see people doing. So here's my Terraform file. Then I'm going to go into my extensions and I'm going to install, see if there's, yeah, so here there's a couple of different Terraform extensions. I'm going to install the one made by HashiCorp. So I'm just going to install this one. Hopefully that gives me a little bit of IntelliSense and some code formatting and things like that. Just looking at their particular documentation, I can see that I need to add this provider here. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy this provider as they have it. And I'm going to paste this in. I also noticed that their version is 1.57. So I'm going to go ahead and update this to 1.57. I'm going to save that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come here and do Terraform init. And as I understand it, this initializes the Terraform directory and installs the provider and everything like that. And I think I can do it at this stage. It looks like I can. And then if we go back to Visual Studio Code, you can see that it's created this Terraform file, which I don't think I would ever touch that. I don't think there's a reason to, but I have my provider set up and I know I'm using the right provider now. So the next thing, and autocomplete is telling me I want to add a resource. So let's do that. Let's add a resource. And then it gives me this nice little information here. I'm going to change the name of the server to something else, like let's do episode 1 server. It's telling me this is, oh, it must have 2 blocks, right? So I believe, okay. Now, if we go to, as I understand it, the name is just the name of the server. The image is the image that's going to be deployed onto the server. The server type is CX11. Well, what exactly does that mean? And the location is FSN1. If you go to Hetzner.com and you look at their cloud, you can see that they have various server options here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come here and say I want this to be a CX23. And then FS1 is just the location that it's going to be installed. So at the simplest level, I believe that if I do a Terraform apply, this is going to create the server in the cloud, I think. Let's see if that happens. So let's do a Terraform apply. Yes. And it doesn't like that. Okay, so it says that Ubuntu image isn't found. So maybe the issue is just with my Ubuntu image. Let's just copy what they have. Oh, it's an updated version. Okay, Let's see if that solved the problem, if it was just a version issue. Terraform apply again, yes. Okay, that looks like it was. Okay, so it looks like it took about 33 seconds to create that server. And if we go out to the console and we click on servers, we can see the server created. So yeah, that's fantastic. Looks like everything worked there. Now the downside to this is we don't have any SSH keys or anything like that. So we can't actually log in to this server. At least I don't know of any way that we can. I mean, you could click on the server and say, I believe there's a console option here. Yeah, so they have the console option and we can connect, but it's asking me to log in and I have no idea what the login credentials are. They may have emailed them to me, but that's just not a good way to handle this at all. But that was my goal, right? To just deploy a server. And I'm actually super excited that that's all it took. I think there's a couple of problems that I see here. I'm just going to show you how I know you can do a Terraform destroy, and that should delete what we have done. Okay, and that took about 30 seconds to destroy as well. And then you can see on the server page, there aren't any servers. So I'm just going to go in here to my security, my API tokens. We're going to go ahead and delete this API token. In just a couple of minutes, I was able to deploy a server to the cloud. That is, I mean, super cool. I'm super excited about the different things that I can do with this. I do think there's a couple of problems that I see here. One, I had no SSH key. So I got to figure out how to manage my SSH key so that I can SSH into that server. Two, there's no firewalls set up on the server. And how exactly does that work? How can I get, so I need to figure out how to use Terraform to deploy a firewall so that that can be implemented. And then the other thing I'm concerned about is the whole point of Terraform is having some type of state management, right? So being able to deploy a server and then modify the server without modifying everything. So how does Terraform handle state management? I don't know yet. So that's something I need to dig in as well. So those are some things that I'm going to be looking at in the next video. So if you're interested in following me on this journey where I learn what I can about Terraform, feel free to subscribe and I'll see you in the next video.